My heart has danced with this beautiful mimicry of ink for hours. The second the medicine hit and the pain lifted just enough for me to move, I did the dishes, swapped out the litter, threw some laundry into the washer, and then the dryer. I showered and covered myself with this perfumed oil gifted by one I love. As I danced, I came to terms a little bit more with my situation. As I peek out from my curtainless window, the discipline needs to be this is someone as beloved as I am. They go so deep and can see as far. This stranger before me stands a mystery in human form. Regardless of how long we've known each other, just introduced or having enough time together to bring on some illusion of knowledge, the familiarity that can hide so much. Oh, I rarely manage a respite like this where I feel somewhat strong and full of the contented, loving peace that has become the default when art, meditation, and now medicine can bring the screaming pain down to something bearable. Joints already hate me for moving as I did. My foot continues to gently suggest it's a little broken. None of their complaints dim my joy. Right now, I am vague. The soft light filtered around the paintings blocking the window tells me it's daytime, but I am in just enough distress that even the distance between thought and sensation and this moving pen is not enough to let me sleep. So I will keep making lovely pieces out of 10,000 lines that are not quite where I want them to be. I reek of roses because it takes so much for me to smell. Trash and litter would testify. But no one's here to choke on this small delight. I do not need the art to fall in love with living through this breath in this body. But as music can deepen the dance as well as influence it through tempo and mood, in conversation with this flow, I can make loveliness while full of love, acknowledging that I have no idea what love and wonder dwell inside another. My only recourse is to keep retraining during every social interaction. I give you kindness and all I can to minimize the pain I cause, but I love being this chaotic, doodling mess. Well, I have a moment free from the automatic, constant trigger that is pain that goes all the way to the cognitive load 24/7. Part of what I find so horrifying when I cruise past a 10 while disassociating so I can have a conversation or run an errand or try to get to the bathroom on time. I know it makes me vulnerable in ways I would have never allowed. So many have seen my bliss and judged it worthless, for the end result lacks some quality or grace. But I'm doing the best I can, that I am here right now in this breath is the grace. My own heaven of roses and joy. Subconscious offers the memory of hiding from my mother by laying flat on the path between the neighbor's roses. He would tell me about new varieties he had made when she went back inside for a smoke. The scent is a treat. The color of the variegated roses, the way the sun felt against me as I hid in safety. Oh, I have to let go of this delusion that I will be safe inside isolation. The fear of this world that has so thoroughly and repeatedly proved how cruel and heartless it can be will mangle me worse now that I have lost all hold on my working memory. That fear does not help. This moment's love gathers all of my experience in its arms and forgives me. It forgives me the foul language that accompanied rolling over, where once I would have been laughing and dancing, hoping to share my joy, for it is part of how I love. Now I protect my laughter. The truest shield I have ever known is trusting in myself. I know the instant the pain lifts enough, I will move. This engine of creativity will give over time to cleaning and basic hygiene. I will move as much as my limbs will allow. Now I have to expand that trust. How often have I written about this beautiful loving for dreaming and making, and how it led me to deep knowing when I finally abandoned all my burdens when in this union. This kind of writing became a substitute for the labyrinths I could not walk, the paddles and hikes no longer available. That I found this refuge when I was a wounded child gave me more time to practice. So, in summary, I lived a life that had an overwhelming amount of abuse. As I have been writing, the pain has crept back, even during the past 6 weeks, with several increases in pain and corresponding decreases in my ability to focus, sleep, or function. I have been trusting that the second I can, I will move. I will search for flow like this. I will return to loving. If I stop being able to do anything creative, it will make my life harder on levels I refuse to imagine at this point. Only eventually I will return to this bliss, for here it is, thriving, the shining warmth of contentment in my actions and skin. However, I'm not invulnerable. I know my weaknesses too. For days, I've been ruminating on a medical professional calling my art ghastly. There are earnest, heartfelt pieces of art that I have seen that left me cold. Also, after my mother burning it all when I was 16, every word I had written in Sketchmate, and my ex asking me to change my name, and the other ex saying words like this are a force for evil, well, I have learned that people love to judge another's art as wanting. Still, it bothered me. How can someone help me figure out how to move through this world? I love this heartbeat with the full devotion of my being. I am like a crystal, taking that loving and putting it into many facets. All these paintings and poems are my redemption, as well as the way I could transform all the self-hatred and confusion and suffering into a sigh and a poem. I trust myself more than her inner art critic. Moreover, I trust that I am healing during these weeks of silent stillness. It may be that I will have to prove my worth to others forever. For this revolution of self-love, when I am poor, disabled, without family or lover, must seem like madness. People have hurt me so deeply, so frequently, and so relentlessly that I ought to not care, but I open up when I see those I love, able to be joyous and still not trust. No one ever taught me how to walk through my day confident in my gait. No one modeled being fierce and passionate while staying kind and gentle. No one ever let me forgive them and actually stop doing the thing. The boundary broken over and over, my heart dragged back into a routine where I was too much, showing my damage. None of that will happen again. As I try to open up to people, I have to remember this love is here always, underneath all the bad reflexes and guilt and intrusive thoughts. I love as soon as I can. The second pain lifts enough for my awareness to gain some space for quiet and kindness, I love. Even if it's ghastly, I am besotted and protective and so very grateful.